Shalom family. Shalom family. This is Initiation into Yoga, Chapter 6, Past, Present, and Future. One of the significant features of the age in which we live is the peculiar intensification of interest in the future and the constant efforts that are being made to predict its course. We are not referring here to the very widespread revival of interest in the ancient science of astrology, though that too is symptomatic, but to the ever increasing spate of books and articles dealing with expected new developments that are thought drinking this tea. Wow. That are thought to be hanging about somewhere just around the corner, to the universally prevalent discussions of the science of the future, the religion of tomorrow, the art of the new age, and the coming social systems. When we find that a great deal of our psychic energy is thus going into the task of speculating about the future, we can be sure that something is rotten in the state of Denmark. That is to say, in our own psyche at the present moment, that there is, in fact, some present situation with which we are not dealing adequately. It may be said that when the world around us is in the deplorable state in which it presently is, it is quite natural that we should cast longing eyes on the future. In truth, the answer to no real problem can ever be found in the outer world, for it does not exist there, but in the psyche. The so-called outer world, the environment which seems to surround us, is a projection of our inner psychic state, as certainly as the picture of the screen on the screen is the projection of the slide in the magic lantern. However, much common sense, which is merely the advocate paid to argue for the continuance of the present conditions, may protect against this statement. It nevertheless represents a plain fact, though admittedly one which it is not easy for us to realize at all fully. At least we can easily recognize and make the starting point from one fact, namely that the same environment as common sense counts sameness as a different thing in different psychic conditions. To one man, a jungle far removed from the haunts of men is a place of infinite peace, beauty, and satisfaction. To another, or even to the same man in a different psychic state, it is a place of intense fear or boredom. The same is true of any other environment we may select: an office, a laboratory, or a garden party. We see that we have projected from ourselves the actual screen is neutral. But besides this projection onto the immediate environment, this spatialization of our psychic contents, there is also another type of projection into time. The former gives rise to an interest in the world around us, which therefore shines with the light of attraction or repulsion that is quite foreign to its nature, being in fact derived from ourselves. The latter gives rise to an interest in past or future, which too shines with a light that is derived from us, a light that is of an entirely magical nature. This has been noticed even by materialists, for we find Bertrand Russell saying, "This is why the past possesses such a magical power. Like Duncan, after life's fitful fever, it sleeps well, revealing words to any who can see their meaning." We may note also the aura of magic light that Keats threw round his poem, St. Agnes Eve, by the words of the concluding verse, and they are gone. A. Ages long ago, these lovers fled away into the storm. As these words are pronounced, a change comes over the mood of the reader. A spell has been uttered, and instantly the whole story, with its rich texture of fearless, danger-laden passion, is immobilized by a wave of the enchanter's wand and removed into the safety of ages long ago. What then is the present? What the past and future? We shall here use of our writer's privilege of stating facts without argument, and we shall do so the more readily because such facts as these are either seen or not seen. No arguments can convince him who will not see, and there are only too many reasons why we should fear to face the truth. The present, that environment which surrounds us as we write or read these words, and which seem so real, so solid, and so shin breaking, is the projection of all in the psyche that is clear and overt, all that of which, whether liked or disliked, we are clearly conscious, and it fades away into the horizon background, penumbra. Never heard that word. In which, though not clearly conscious at the moment, is all that can become conscious of by a simple change of viewpoint. The past is the religion into which we project all that we fear within ourselves, all that we wish to render powerless by the double technique of forgetfulness and immobilization. The terrible demons that stalk the soul, lords of blood and ruthless lust from which we need protection, are thus removed from us by the unconsciously uttered magic spell which places them securely in the past. This is the reason why what is known as history, especially ancient history, is so bloody and terrible. What else could it be when we have used its blank imaginary pages for drawing pictures of our own most desperate fears? All that we have deliberately forgotten because we dare not face its present power. The future, on the other hand, is the region into which we project all that we desire. All those psychic states we should like to be conscious of, but dare not face because of their incompatibility with all that we are used to. To accept these shining gods as present realities, which indeed they are, would mean altering so much to which we are habituated that we prefer to remove them into the magic twilight of the future, were the longed for new age to be born now, which it could be. Would we but face it? For it is an eternal present. It would mean the upsetting of too many cherished habits of thoughts and feelings. It is therefore safer to push it away around the corner and thus place it in a state where it can be desired without our having to alter our present psychic structures and habits. The future need not to be immobilized as we immobilize our fears into the static eternity of the past. For although fear is only the only negative shadow, the female counterpart of desire, the future is those elements which are desired, not feared. The future is thus allowed to be a living region. All that is required of it is that it shall remain sufficiently vague to avoid its present implications being clearly seen. The past, because immobilized, can be allowed to be clearly seen, at least in parts. The future must be dim and only twilight. It will be objected that many people fear the dark future and look with longing love upon the golden past. This, though true, is not an objection, for our psychic magic is not and cannot be absolute. These lords of terror, whom we have established in the past, are, it is true, reduced to immobility. Uh, their dread forms are prevented from approaching us, but our magic extends no further than what we may term their bodies. Their souls are free of it, and leaping over the present, haunt the future in the dim mist of which their moving shadows are dimly descried, advancing all the future upon us with awful gestures that threaten vengeance for all the spells laid on their bodies. It is the perception of these dim but ominous shapes moving amidst the clouds of things to come that cause the future land of heart's desire to be, to some, a terror more dreadful even than the past. Similarly, while the bright gods of desire are allowed to move in their land of the future, although with their lustre dimmed by its twilight mist, their souls are shining beacons, golden pillars in the ever standing past, and lend to the letter the magic light by which it so fascinates the soul. Thus do all the things pass into the opposites, and as we thus gaze, the whole of time comes rushing in upon us, and the entire universe concentrates on to a point against that that centering flood of mental personality or ego, in whose interest and for whose protection the great panorama of space and time is maintained, protects and marshals all its defenses. The first defense is plain denial of the facts, a passionate reaffirmation of the entire reality of the past, present, and future. Nevertheless, what we have stated is true, a truth not of our childish ego protecting logic, but one with which can be seen by those bold enough to open their hearts and gaze, by the convinced that those lose the ego life is to find true being. For such, the tyranny of time and space is needed. The living ramparts of the universe sweep in on rushing wings until their concentrated power ignites a spark of infinite intensity, such as the birth of an eternal star, a guide to those who wander in the night. Okay, star. This is the meaning of the tremendous Jamadashaya Yasha of the Brahma Sutras, for it is out of that infinite tension of the soul or Atman that has arisen the path of birth, and in it that sounds the world extended plane of present maintenance, and from it that pushes on us the dark futures of death and change. Nagarunja has told us that the entire sphere of phenomena dissolves with the dissolution of the protective sphere of thoughts. The same truth has been expressed by the great Gaudapada. The birthlessness of mind, thus free from the notion of casualty, is unconditioned and absolute. All is forever unborn, for all its objectivization of the mind, not finding any objective cause, one easily reaches that which is ever free from sorrow, desire, and fear, i.e., from present, future, and past time. The changeless state is reached when the mind frees itself from duality and self-objectivization. This is indeed the field of the wise, the unconditioned, the unborn, the one. The childish miss is by predicating of it such things as existence, non-existence, both together or neither. But he has seen all who has seen the glorious being, untouched by any of the predicates which serve only to hide it from the seer. And that is the end of chapter 6, past, present,